I don't really know what to put in the cold open of this episode this week, so I'm going to give you one of my pro tips that I've been using my whole life. When you're pumping gas at any gas pump, you know how you have to squeeze the trigger on the handle to get the gas out. Don't squeeze the trigger down all the way. Hold it only halfway. Don't use the stopper. Don't use that little kickstand inside of it to hold it all the way. Only hold it halfway. That way you get less air bubbles and more gas for your dollar. Cents on the dollar, but over time it adds up. All right, real talk.
I heard about you. Didn't think you were real. Didn't think you were real. I'm real when it's useful.
Real talk.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this show every week. It really means a lot to me. The name of the game is being real. The show is called Real Talk. I am the real Clemente, and this is an outlet for me to keep it real, to get things off my chest, to say things that I think, not even that I think other people are scared to say. It's just that, it's kind of things that I think you should hear. And I want to be a trusted source as much as I can, albeit a little opinionated. Every episode I've done this far has been real, has been the complete and honest truth, for better or for worse. But I think I need to do something a little different this week. I want to tell you something that's been bugging me for a long time now. It's been on my chest for a while and in my mind, and it's not going away. And well, quite frankly, it wouldn't be real if I didn't. So I want to tell you a story. It's a bit of a long story, and it's a true story. Everything I'm about to tell you is very true and very accurate. And I'll try to be as objective as possible. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because, one, I need to get it out there, man. Not because anyone's asking to hear it, but because I need to put it into words because I don't think I've processed it entirely, but also because there's a few lessons in there in this story that you can take away and use. There's some lessons that I think are worth hearing firsthand. And there's one big lesson, one big takeaway from this story that I want to tell you at the end. And it's very important that you hear it because it could affect your life dramatically, as it has mine. I want to tell you about the biggest regret I have in my life thus far. I don't have a lot of regrets, I have a lot of memories. I've done a lot of cringy things. I've done a lot of things that are, if I went back in time knowing what I know now, I'd probably do differently. But none of them really add up to this story that I'm about to tell you. And it takes place over a couple years. It's an important story, and it is a story about the thing that I regret most in this life. So here it is. I went to a semi-private, I say that because you have to get accepted. It's not the public high school. I went to a semi-private high school in 2010. That was my freshman year. And it was a small high school. A couple kids in the class. I mean, I think my starting class size when I joined was like 50. I think 50 of us got accepted, and my graduating class was like a dozen. So it was a small high school, man, and that's the way I like it. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's friends with everybody. Had a blast, honestly. Shout out to everyone who went to high school with me. You guys are all the best, and we all went to the same program for the same reason, man. We all think alike in one way or another, and we're a little too cool for public school. But no, shout out to you guys. I love every one of you. But I was in this high school starting in 2010 all the way up through 2015. It's a 5-year program, not because I stayed back, but because it was only 2 years of high school and 3 years of free college because we were doing so good academically. We graduated high school with an associate's degree for free. Awesome program. I highly recommend it for your kids. If you see an early college program, go to it, man. Get that free degree. I'll tell you what, 2 years of high school is all you need. Get that free college degree. But 2010 and 2015, I went to this high school, and immediately a group of friends was formed. Probably about 7 or 8 of us to begin with. You know, we were all pretty close knit, man. We were all hanging out, laughing all the time, goofing around in class, you know, passing, you know, doing good. And lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of memories were formed, man. The inner circle, man. I don't know if I want to say everyone's names on here, but you know who you were. But there was a kid in our circle. His name was Bailey Smith. Bailey was a nice kid, smart kid, very opinionated kid, a good old Southern boy. Loved his camo jackets and his pickup trucks and his mudding and his deer hunting, and Southerner through and through. And I was pretty opinionated coming from New England. You know, I'd never been hunting. I don't do camo. I'm not really about that redneck life at all. But you know, me and Bailey, we clicked, man. We became good friends. We were in all the same classes together, and we kind of connected almost instantly. Not on trucks and hunting, but on video games, on music. You know, we laughed at the same things, laughed at the same memes, watched the same big blockbuster movies. You know, we were similar interests, man. 10th grade starts, 2011. We go to the fair together, the local fair together. It was me and Bailey's little brother named Seth, Bailey's cousin named Tanner, who you may know now, I'm sure you do, and another one of us from our circle. And we went to the fair, and we hung out, we had a blast, come back, sleep over, and that kind of started off a chain reaction of like awesome high school, having a good time, sleepovers at Bailey's house. Bailey had the cool house. He had the big house, a big TV, had a pool table in his bedroom, had the games, you know. That was the place to be, man. His parents, I love them to death. Some of the nicest people I've ever met. Cooked the best breakfast, the best meals. That was the place to hang out, man. I only hope that my home is the home to hang out at, like Bailey's was. And but we would do our sleepovers, man. We would have a good time. And this is when we were like 16 or so. Obviously didn't have a job at this time, so we got nothing else to do outside of school. So, and we didn't have cars. We didn't have a car at this point. But yeah, man, we would do sleepovers. My mom would drop us off. We'd work on our project or our group project or whatever, and play Halo Reach and Halo 4 when it came out, and Black Ops 2, play zombies until like midnight, and maybe watch some goofy thing on TV like Beavis and Butthead or something. And I'd sleep on the couch and he'd sleep in the bed, and, you know, wake up and repeat it next week, you know. It was great. It was a great time for sure. And, you know, 11th grade rolled around like 2012 to 2013. And it had gotten to the point where I was I didn't have a car yet. Every Friday, I would just ride home with him because he had a truck. He had gotten a truck for his birthday or something. I don't remember. But he got a truck. So I would just ride home with him from school every day or every Friday. And that's where Fridays would be spent, man. Shooting hoops outside, playing games mostly. Late at night, we would run to Walgreens and do a Walgreens run and get a bunch of candy and junk food and bullshit, and come back and just do that. And, you know, me and him and his little brother Seth and his cousin Tanner, who lived across the street, who would come over almost every time. And, dude, we just have a party, man, the 4 of us. And, just do some goofball shit. Nothing crazy, nothing wild, but we'd just sleep over and we'd play Minecraft. Or there was a phase where we were really hot on Monopoly, man. Every Friday we'd come over, we'd play Monopoly aggressively, dude. We would live it up, man. We would, I remember we played Monopoly so aggressively that we were like making our own chance and community chess cards at one point. It was a lot of fun. But dude, great times, man. Great times all around. Just living it up, man. And we were probably about 16, 17 at the time. But I know people would say that's a little too old for a sleepover. But you know what? Nah, you don't get it. It doesn't matter. And that's important. That's important to the story because, I mean, dude, I think every Friday in 2013 I slept over at Bailey's house. Sometimes Saturday too. And we just party it up, man. The four of us doing whatever. Sometimes not even doing anything. But it was awesome, man. It was some of the best times ever. Minecraft was a huge staple at the time. Minecraft is a staple in my life now just for the nostalgia of it. Even when we weren't sleeping over, man, we would have a Minecraft server. And we would all play from our houses. And we'd all hop on and just talk trash and blow each other up and stuff, man. The four of us. It was awesome. So much fun, man. Pure childhood bliss. Even as a teenager. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I got my first job at this little fast food place, and I hated it, and I quit after a month, and it was still just kept hanging out, man. 2013 comes to a close. I get my first car, and I get my first real job working retail, and work starts to pick up. 2014 develops. I'm working part-time. He's working part-time at a business that his mom and dad owns. It's like a mom and pop shop here in town. And of course, he's working there, probably more than part-time. And we're turning 18 and we're entering that hashtag work life. The Friday night sleepovers became less common. Still happened, of course. And now we had a little bit of money for that Walgreens run, you know what I mean? Or to go shopping at Walmart around Christmas time or whatever, but became a little less frequent. We were busy, and also we had entered the phase of our college program or our high school program where we were taking college classes, so our schedules didn't always line up. So the sleepovers became less weekly, but still fun. But the part-time work started to increase and increased for him too. And then the following year, the last school year of my program, they also had a downtown college campus for these college classes. They had a downtown campus and the uptown campus, which is where we were the 4 years prior. I took my last year at the downtown campus. He took his at the north campus. And I think that played a big part of it. So we never crossed paths on campus. So in that last year, even less frequently. Part of it is, too, we were growing up, But I started to notice a trend. I started to notice that the sleepovers were less and the hanging out was less. And a little more, I don't want to say inconvenient, but a little more tricky to plan. And, growing up, moody teenagers, entering the phase of young adulthood where things are pretty confusing and finishing college and applying to colleges and getting bombarded with the question of what's next? Where are you going to go for college? And it was a pretty stressful time, at least for teenagers. High school is a serious thing. These problems matter, that kind of thing. I started to become a little bothered by the fact that it wasn't just simple sleepovers every Friday. And it wasn't just simple hangout sessions of just Minecraft and putting the cares of the world aside. It started to get a little bothered that, either he's working or I'm working or we're both working or neither of us are working, but we just can't figure out a time. Anyways, the hangouts became less. And then the attempts to hang out became a little trickier. And my error started when I started to take that the wrong way. Like I said, I was trying to grasp onto the awesome fun that we had in 2013, the last official year of childhood, as I would call it. It was bothering me that work was taking precedent in my growing adulthood life. And it was taking precedent for him too. He was really putting in his time at his mom and dad's shop, and rightfully so. He was dedicated to it, man. That's the family business. He was getting in there. He was doing everything he can to make a buck, to make a name for himself. Awesome, man. Proud of you. But I just wasn't ready to give up childhood, I think. And I kind of felt like he was. Only because he had more of a cavalier attitude about it, about working, than I did. Started to get a little frustrated. And started to get a little frustrated when I was off Friday and Saturday. And I was like, dude, let's hang out, man. I'll bring the laptop over, or we'll go see a movie or something. Let's do something. And he was like, I got to work in the morning. I was like, what the fuck, man? It's Saturday. Like, let's hang out. But he wanted to work. He wanted to do his thing. And I held it against him at the time. I don't now. I get it. But I was taking it personally, man. I was taking it personally, like he didn't want to hang out with me anymore. And it bothered me. Because I was like, dude, come on, we'll get me and you and Seth and Tanner. Let's all hang out, man. Let's play some Minecraft or something. Black Ops or whatever. Dude, I'll bring my Xbox if I have to. Whatever, man. But it just wasn't working. So I started to get agitated. 2015 rolls around, and we're almost not even hanging out. Early 2015 rolls around. We're almost not even hanging out at all. We were butting heads about, I think work was just the root of it, man. I didn't want to grow up, I think. And I felt like he wanted to for no reason or something. I don't know. Something stupid. You know how teenagers get. But I just started taking his inability to hang out as he was blowing me off. And, maybe a time or two he was. I don't know. But his messages just hit me the wrong way, man. And I used to, dig into it. And, I was looking back on the conversations because I still have the phone from that time. And it was there was one in, early 2015 where I was like, dude, let's hang out. Oh, no, you know what it was? It was my birthday. In 2015, it was my birthday. I'm not going to say it here, but on the day of my birthday, it was the afternoon. I had gotten done with my birthday activities, and I wanted to go hang out with him. And I had messaged him. I was telling him about my new PC that I had built. I would gotten rid of the laptop, and I built a PC instead for gaming. But I was like, "Oh, dude, let's go hang out. I don't have my laptop anymore, but we can play Black Ops 2. We can play Halo, old fashioned times. We can go see this movie or whatever." And he was like, he messaged me. He was like, "Oh man, you should have just got a better laptop so we could play Minecraft on it." I was like, "Yeah, but I could play Minecraft better from home now, so we could play online. But when I come over, we could do other stuff." And then his next message said, "Oh, sorry, man, I gotta work tomorrow morning." And I immediately hit the ceiling, man, because I was like, immediately, my moody teenage self, I was like, you didn't say shit about working when I told you that. You didn't say shit about working until I told you I didn't have a laptop. And he was like, yeah, I just don't know what we do, and I got to work in the morning. I was like, all right, dude, whatever. I got pissed, man. I got pissed that he had work the next morning. And that wasn't the first or only time that he had done that, but there was a few times where he had there was a few opportunities where I felt like we could have hung out, but he didn't want to. So I just took it personally. And I really started to get bothered by it. So I stopped offering to hang out And then like April 2015 rolls around, and we were trying to come up with a plan to go see Fast and Furious 7. And I was at work at my retail store, which is right near the movie theater. And I was texting while I was working. I was like, yeah, I need you to look up the show times. Let's figure this out. I'm off at 5 o'clock or whatever it is. Or I was off at 6. And I think he had messaged me. He had said there's a show time at 5:30 or something like that. It was right before I had gotten off. So I went and I asked my boss if I could leave early that day. And he said, yeah, very short notice, very cool of him. And it was like 15 minutes to showtime. I was like, hey, just let me know. I'll walk over there right now and we'll go see it. And he messaged me right then. He's like, sorry, we're not going to make it. I went ballistic. I don't know what came up. I don't know if he was just blowing me off, changed his mind, whatever. It doesn't matter now, but I got pissed. And I sent him a really, really mean message. I said, that's the last time I changed my work schedule to hang out with you, dude. I remember that. I'm not going to forget those words. I said, that's the last time I changed my work schedule to hang out with you, dude. And I referred to him as dude to him. And that, I don't know, like not bro, not anything. I don't know. I felt the distance happening. And I felt the frustration that work has entered the mix, just bubbling up, man. And it just got to me. It just got to me that I was frustrated that work was becoming the biggest part of my life and not friends. It is what it is. And then a month goes by. May 5th, 2015. It's the last time I ever slept over Bailey's house. And I remember this. We had a sleepover. We made it happen. I remember this because it was the day that Tech Nine's album was coming out. And it was getting mailed to me. And I was very, very excited. And I wanted to go home and get it and listen to it. But Bailey, when we woke up, had to go cut grass outside. He had to hop on the lawnmower and go cut grass at his house outside. Whatever, fine. Do what you got to do, man. I'll sit in the living room and I'll watch Avatar on TV. So I sat in the living room and I watched Avatar on TV, which is a long-ass movie to begin with. I was sitting there, it was just me and him. He was outside listening to his music, cutting the grass, and I was inside watching this long movie. 3 hours go by. I'm waiting for him to come back inside so he can, like, shower and we can go to Wendy's or something and get lunch or whatever. But 3 hours go by. The movie's almost over. Bailey comes back in to the house with a bag of Wendy's in his hand. He had stopped mowing the grass, or he had finished, and he went to Wendy's without me. He left me on the couch, and he came back with it. Didn't tell me he was going. I was waiting for him to be done mowing the grass so we could go together and like do something instead of me sitting here waiting on a day where I could be home getting something I want, And I didn't blow up, but I told him to his face. I was like, dude, I waited this whole time so we could go to Wendy's together. And I don't know what he said. I don't remember what he said. But I know he was kind of like, oh, I don't think he was aware of that. And, talk about taking things personally, man. I took that so personally. I said, all right, I'm out of here. I grabbed my sleepover bag and I walked out the door. He's like, all right, I'll see you. I said, yep. And I shut the door. And I never slept over at Bailey's house again. I had essentially made a pact with myself. I said, dude, I've been getting blown off so much. I got these other friends trying to hang out with me. Like, fuck it, man. It's just what it is. He wants to go work his life away. He can do that. I'm going to keep living it up until I can't anymore. And that was my mind state. And I had made up my mind about that. I was 19 at this point. Kept working part-time for the next year. And I never hung out at Bailey's house again after May 5th, 2015. And even more than that, I had decided, well, if this is just how you're going to treat me, let's see how you like it. And I got petty with it, man. And every time he texted me, from that point forward, I ignored him. I'm not quoting you every single instance, but I promise you up until that point, there had been like 15, maybe 20 instances of what I felt was him blowing me off, including my birthday. So, yeah, man. And I say blowing off not as a diss to him, but that's just where my mind was at this time, you know. Work comes up, I get it, you know, but 15 to 20 times, come on, what's really going on? So, yeah, I was feeling some type of way, man, and I was going to hang out with some other friends instead, and I just decided, man, I think after May 5th, I decided, all right, you know what? I'm out, you know? Let's see how you like getting blown off. And that's where my mind was at, as petty as it is. 2015 goes through. Best year of my life, by the way. I did a lot of fun stuff in 2015. And every couple days or so, Bailey would text me just like, hey, what you doing today? Hey, what's going on? And he started to notice that I was ignoring him. He started to really notice it. So he started to like text more frequently. He used to be like, why aren't you talking? Are you sick? Are you not living at home anymore? Like he would send a random text messages like any time of day, any day. And then he would try to like provoke a response out of me. He'd be like, what did you think about this new movie or something? Or he would like see on my Snapchat story that I was like in Charlotte or something. And he'd be like, what are you in Charlotte for? And like just trying to get a response out of me. But he got, I think he got the hint in 2015 that I had started ignoring him out of pettiness. And I could tell that something had switched. And he started to become more like insistent, like, dude, like say something. But me, being the petty 18-year-old I was loving it. That was the outcome that I wanted. That was the outcome I was trying for. I'm looking at the screenshots now. Yeah, September 8th, 2015, 6 p.m. You ever going to stop giving me the cold shoulder? October 3rd, you want to chill? October 4th, you all right? October 24th, you at work today? November 25th, what you doing? November 25th, you want to meet at the Walmart? Merry Christmas. And look up this clip on YouTube. Just little things like that. And every time he had sent me one of those things, I made the conscious decision to not reply. Because it was evilly gratifying to me to get him back for all the times I felt that he blew me off when we could have hung out. And we never hung out again. And we never really reconnected. 2016 rolls around. I'm deep in my college years. He didn't go to college. He stayed and started working full time at the family business. 2016, I was in college and I was basically in new circles. I was working more. You know, I think it was through my conversation with Tanner that we had. I talked to Tanner about it and how I was feeling and all this. I was sending him screenshots, and we came up with something. We came up with an opportunity, like all right, let's get the gang back together again. The four of us, me, Bailey, Tanner, Seth. Let's just make it happen, man. Let's put this work behind us and let's just have a good time. I was like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And we developed a plan to go and see Batman v Superman, which came out in March 2016. We went to go see it. The four of us. It was right after I had gotten off work. The four of us meet up and we watch it. And you know my feelings on that movie. And the four of us are watching it. You know, we're goofing around having a good time, but it's between me and Bailey, it's awkward. You know? It's awkward because I just couldn't let my petty wall down. And the movie ends. And I dip out of there and the three of them roll. And I go home, man. I'm up half the night just thinking about it. Like, man, that awkwardness is just awful. What the hell? But I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop being petty. And that was the last time that the four of us had ever hung out again. Batman v Superman in 2016. I think it was March 30th. That was the last time the four of us were ever together. Me, Bailey, Tanner, and Seth. And I used that and my feelings towards Bailey and the weird tension between us as a reason why I never wanted to get in that situation again. Like, God, this sucks, but it's just what it is. Bailey keeps texting me throughout the year. I tell him my feelings. I had one night where I told him my feelings about everything. I sent him all the screenshots, and he apologized for all the times that he had blown me off. And he had told me that he was going through some stuff, and he was feeling certain types of ways, and he shouldn't have blown me off, and shouldn't have made up excuses. He liked the sleepovers. He wanted to keep doing them. But I ate it up, you know? Moody teenager that I was. We never hung out again. 2017 rolls around. I get my own place. I start up this podcast. We start doing things on YouTube. You know, start talking about Justice League and all the stuff. And I'm growing up. I'm graduating college, and he's keeping up. He's keeping up with what we do. He's watching everything that we put out, and I could tell that he's watching. I can tell that he's keeping track. You know, me and Tanner, obviously two creative minds working together. You know, he tells me, you know, yeah, he tells me every time Bailey asks about me or says something about me, positive or negative. It's just what it is, man. I rip on him a little bit and then we move on, man. I never talk to Bailey directly. Every time I put out a podcast episode, season 1 of this podcast, he would message me about it, like critiquing my episode, like aggressively. I just ignored it. Like weird. Not like I want to hang out, but like in a weird kind of being petty way too. And I didn't give it any energy. You know, I was fully an adult now, and 2018 goes by. I almost never hear from Bailey anymore, and I never really talk to him. I think about it often. And I remember this one time Tanner asked me, "You guys ever gonna put this behind you?" And I was like, "Man, I just don't know how." And it bothered me. It upset me, but I acted like it didn't. You know, we were such good friends, and then pettiness created a rift. And we never got back together. And you could blame growing up, and you could blame work, or maybe it was just, I don't know, blowing off. I don't know. But never really reconnected. 2019 rolls around. He's still keeping up with everything I do. We're starting to dabble in music. Tanner Jorden puts out his EP, Arrivederci, in January 2019. First time I ever produced music, and Tanner had ever recorded music. And it was something that we had talked about years ago in one of the sleepovers. And it finally came to fruition, man. And it's my understanding through Tanner that Bailey liked it. And Bailey had his critiques. But Bailey messaged me, and he said, I actually have it saved here on Snapchat, the last message he ever sent me. Where is it? Yeah. Last message he ever sent me. Yep, there it is. Screenshotted 4 years ago. January 11th, the day that the EP came out, he goes, sorry, I don't have your number anymore. Lost it on the transfer, but I loved the So Wrong and the Better Days beat. Killed it, man. So Wrong and Better Days are songs that we did on the EP. He said, I love the So Wrong and the Better Days beats. Killed it, man. And that was the first, like, compliment I had gotten from him in, I think, years. And I saved it. And boy, am I glad I saved it. So he liked the So Wrong and he liked the Better Days beat. I said thank you, and we went on about our business. Never talked again. That was the last message he ever sent me. In August of 2019, Bailey had a stroke. Tanner messaged me one day, and he said, man, I got bad news. And I had no idea what he was talking about. I thought he was setting up for a joke or something. And he told me what happened. And I was at work. I was at a different job. And I froze. Because I know Bailey had health conditions prior to this, but a stroke? I froze, man. And he was hospitalized for about a week or so. I don't really remember. But there was a weird feeling in the air as he was in the hospital. And I didn't know. My brain was a fog, man. Because like I said, I hadn't kept up with Bailey. I didn't know how he was doing prior to that. Tanner asked me if I wanted to come see him in the hospital. And I wanted to. But I wasn't sure. I told him straight up, I don't know if I'd be welcome. Like, I was afraid that his parents had ill feelings towards me or something, or his little brother Seth did. I was afraid that I had become, rightfully so, the bad guy in their eyes, and I didn't know if I'd be welcome. And I wanted to, and I was like, dude, I need to go. I need to go tell him I'm sorry. And I didn't. And it's because I convinced myself that his family, one of the nicest families I've ever met in my life, hated me for the way things turned out. So I think I told Tanner some kind of excuse. I don't remember what it was, but I told him I couldn't. And I got the news. He was gone a couple days later. I don't know what you're supposed to do in that scenario. I think I got home from work that day, and I sat in the parking lot of my apartment complex, just in my car, kind of just with a 1,000-mile stare into nothingness, recapping the years that I just explained to you, and recapping the last couple years, and just it was to say it was eye-opening it's to say the least, you know. He was gone, and he would never watch my Snapchat story again. He would never like my Instagram posts or message me compliments or critiques. He would never invite me to play Facebook games on my Messenger again. We would absolutely never have a sleepover again, never see another movie again. But the absence, you know? Seth, his brother, called me like one of the nights before. He called me and kind of, you know, in an emotional state. He called me personally on my cell phone. We had a long talk. And then I don't think I ever talked to Seth again. I mean, what do you say? I know Seth disliked me for how rude I was being to Bailey. But I lost contact with Seth. And because I was being an asshole to Bailey, I get it. You know, obviously I was here for Tanner and him dealing with it, but it almost immediately I came to the realization that I had fucked up. And any justification I had for being petty to him and cutting him off and going our separate ways, any justification that I had immediately went out the window. It immediately got put into perspective. Like they say that when astronauts land on the moon and they look at the planet in their vision, everything is put into so much perspective that nothing matters. You realize that nothing matters. Like all your small petties about what your neighbor's doing or the drama in your family, none of that matters when you're standing on the moon and you're looking in and you're just looking at the whole planet and realizing how big the picture really is. That none of the nitty-gritty day-to-day stuff matters. And I kind of had that realization that all of the emotional bullshit that I was going through in my teenage years, coming to grips with growing up and becoming an adult and losing opportunities to spend time with friends in favor of work, which I didn't want to do. None of it mattered. And my justification for ignoring his messages went out the window. You know, they had a memorial service at the house that I used to love going to, and we used to do sleepovers at. They had a memorial service. All the family was there. I went, and I brought flowers, and I talked to his mom, and I talked to his dad, who were distracted at the time, but she gave me a hug, and his dad shook my hand and offered me something to eat. You know, even in the darkest of times, it's one of the sweetest families I've ever met in my life. And I didn't go up to the room. I didn't go up to the room where we did sleepovers in, man. I kind of just, I said my piece, and I said hey to Seth, who was doing his thing with his friends there, and I left. I convinced myself that I shouldn't be here because of my pettiness. So I left. Gave his mom another hug. And I left. And that's the last time I was ever in that house. Last year, I got a tattoo on my arm. It was a big piece that I had been contemplating for a while. And it has a lot of different meanings. First and foremost, on the surface, it is how best to describe it? It is a skull. It is a Batman skull. It's got the Batman mask from Batman v Superman, with a lot of flowers and plants growing out of it, and below it is the Batman logo from Batman v Superman, shrouded in flowers and foliage. And the reason for that is because Batman v Superman is so important to me for multiple reasons. One, that's how I met my fiance. Two is, you know, obviously on the surface, how much I love it, and that arm's gonna be full of movie tattoos. But thirdly, because, yeah, Batman v Superman is how I met my fiance. It's the first time I ever met her, but it's also the last time that the four of us were together, and the last time I saw Bailey. That's the hidden meaning behind this tattoo. And when I say hidden, there's underneath the Batman logo, surrounding it, growing out from behind it, there are 4 flowers, 4 buds, I guess you could say. There's 4 flowers growing out of the Batman logo. And those 4 flowers represent the 4 of us hanging out, seeing this movie. And all the years prior of us hanging out, I got the 4 flowers on my arm, shrouded by Batman v Superman, which obviously, if you know me, you know that, and Justice League, you know all that surface meaning. But the hidden detail on this tattoo is that there's 4 flowers growing out of it, 1 for each of us: me, Bailey, Seth, and Tanner. It doesn't have their names on it or anything, but that's why I wanted 4 flowers in there somewhere. So, tattoo artist did a great job bringing that to life. 4 flowers growing out of it. There's some other hidden messages in the foliage of this piece that I'll explain probably another time, or to anyone who asks. But 4 flowers growing out of this one for the 4 of us hanging out. And I got that on my arm, man. I knew I wanted something, and I knew that this was a good opportunity, and what better opportunity, you know? But now, since 2019, I have shifted mentalities. I was very, I would say, I mean, we all grow up and we all change and we cringe at who we were 5 years ago. I think in a podcast episode that I did 5 years ago, actually, I literally said the words, "We're not who we were 5 years ago." And now here I am 5 years after that, and I'm not that person. That's crazy to me. I don't remember which episode it was, but we grow, and in the 4 years that it's been now since that news, I've kind of changed the way I think. And I've certainly dialed it back. I'm different now because of this. I used to, you know, be petty, be emotional. I used to be very abrasive and very, like, outgoing and, like, live it up, man. But now I think differently now. Obviously, being an adult going into his 30s now, it's dude, I thought having a sleepover every couple weeks was unfortunate. You know how busy I am now? I almost never get to hang out with friends. But my point is, when I'm sorry if I'm pausing and making these silences, man. It's just that I've never told the full story out loud, and I'm talking to a damn microphone right now, but I've never vocalized the whole story to anyone. So I'm processing it all. It's just so much. I wish you could see how many text messages I had from Bailey in the time that I was ignoring him. But I learned now that I don't, when I make plans with people, or I try to make plans with people and it falls through, I don't get upset. You know, I don't let it get to me. I'm always there. Any of you ever need me, I mean, you know who you are. Dude, we talk all the time. Like, you need me, dog, I'm there. I'm there tomorrow. I'm there today. You need money, I got you. Like, you need anything, I got you. You need a ride, I got you. You need a place to stay, I got you. Like, all my friends know what it is. And I can say that that's mostly because of the mentality shift that I had so abruptly in the news of this. Whereas I used to say, oh, well, you know, if they don't make time for you, don't make time for them. Like, let them know what they're missing. You know what I'm saying? Like a petty teenager. But now I don't take it personally when plans fall through. I don't take it personally when someone, you know, doesn't answer or whatever. I don't even take it personally that I've lost contact with a lot of people. You know, good friends I had in high school, good friends I had outside of high school. Hey, we all got lives, and I'm no longer beating myself up over the fact that they're not reaching out. It's all right. We're busy. I understand. We got work and responsibilities, and I am not the main character in anybody's life but my own. I get it. And that's the truth for all of us. Nobody is the main character in anyone else's story. Just your own. So I understand that now. And I don't hold it against anyone. But the reason I told you this story is not just to get it off my mind, but because I told you in the beginning there were lessons to be learned here. There's a couple small lessons you can take away from this. Like, don't take it personally when people can't spend time with you or answer you. Don't take it personally when you lose contact with people. Don't be petty. There's a lot there. And but the most important lesson, the biggest lesson that this episode is about, my biggest regret is don't assume that you have more time than you actually do. I had it in my head that me and Bailey would reconnect someday. And all this shit would be behind us someday. And I was just stuck in it now, and I was going through the motions. This is what it's feeling like now, but 5 years from now, we'll see. You know, I had it in my mind that I had more time to figure out a way to get over it. And I don't. And that's the way it's stuck forever. For the rest of my life, that is the way the story has ended. And it upsets me very deeply, and I'm very hurt about it. I miss Bailey so much more than I think anyone knows. Not just for the fun that we had, but for the opportunity that I should have taken to make a better choice. Don't assume that you have more time than you do. That's my lesson here. I still see Bailey in my dreams 2 or 3 times a month, honestly, every month. And every time I see him in my dreams, it becomes a lucid dream. And I tell him all the things that I wish I did. I tell him I'm sorry over and over again, and I apologize for how things ended. I tell him all the things I want to tell him. And part of me convinces myself that that's really him coming to visit, but who knows? The point is, I have to live with this now, and it bothers me pretty deeply. So when people cancel plans or anything of the sort that would upset me and I would take it personally, I just don't take it personally anymore. I understand that I'm in the wrong in this story, and I acted so stupid, man. If I could go back in time, if I could go back 10 years and punch my teenage self in the face, I would. But I can't, so I have to live with it, and that's much worse. But that's the story, man. That's what I got to live with. Bailey's story does not revolve around me and the tragedy, and what I feel about it is microscopic compared to how it feels for his family and people closer to him. But it's monumental to me. So that's my biggest regret. Now you know. How's that for keeping it real? But that's my lesson to you, man. Don't assume that you have more time than you do, because I promise you, you don't. Thank you for listening. Those of you who know Bailey, keep him in your thoughts. We miss you, Bailey. And Tanner, I love you, buddy. Seth, I hope you have a great life. To Bailey's parents, you guys are the sweetest. Thank you so much for everything that you've ever done for anybody. And we keep moving forward. I'm not here to open old wounds with this episode, but I had to get it out, man. I think it's part of the reason there was such a big gap between season 1 and season 2 too. I didn't have him listening. But that is my biggest regret, and that is my lesson for you. Let's wrap it up. A little too real this time. But you know how it goes. I'm the real Clemente. And thank you for listening. And until next time, it's been real.